Brandon, welcome. Thank you for joining. Please take it away on Telnyx and your S3 API.
Sure. Thanks for having me and giving me this opportunity to present. So hi everybody. My name is Brandon. I'm a product manager for Telnyx. David Kaysen was supposed to be giving this presentation, but I wasn't able to make it, so I'm filling in for him today. But essentially, to give a little background, last year Telnyx set out with the goal to make storing and retrieving data on the Filecoin network as easy and as accessible as possible for end users and for clients. And with that goal in mind, what ultimately came to fruition is what we call Telnyx Storage, which is our S3 compatible object storage API. Next slide, please, Porter. And so the way it works is essentially the end user or the client will be able to integrate with or interact with our S3 compatible API to upload objects, create buckets, manage their data, all in the same way that they will use like a traditional Web 2 provider like S3 or Backblaze or Wasabi or any other S3 compatible storage provider. And then in the background, abstracted away from the user, Telnyx is handling all the complexity involved with actually uploading and retrieving the user's data onto the Filecoin network. So to reiterate, we provide the end user, the client, with a familiar API for them to use to manage their data. And then Telnyx in the background essentially persists their data onto the Filecoin network on their behalf. So next slide, please. In terms of pricing, what we are currently charging is $4 per TIB for our standard model, as well as some API operations as well. There are no egress costs for the customer, no hidden fees. It's pretty transparent pricing model. And then we also are currently in development for a white label version of our product where we can essentially supply this S3 API, this S3 API adapter to other independent storage providers for them to use with their own end users and their own clients for interacting with data stored on their own miners. Once we eventually are able to launch that, we're currently targeting a price of about 60 cents per TIB for the white label version of this product. Next slide, please. Currently on a roadmap for Q2, what we've been focusing on is with the old Lotus markets actor reaching end of life, migrating over to Boost so we can continue to make storage and retrieval deals on the Filecoin network, which we're in the final stages of testing with that. Q3, we're focusing on building out the white labeled product as well as enhancing our API to be able to expose essentially the Filecoin specific object data. So CID, PCID, what miners your data is stored on, ideally being able to expose the daily proofs that verify that your data is stored on chain as well. We're currently exploring that. And then Q4, we're trying to, at that point, be able to have reached full S3 feature parity. We've gotten a subset of features currently deployed, and we're trying to eventually finish offering all sorts of S3 features. We have an interesting AI use case that we're also exploring for Q4, and then ultimately we also want to offer some CDN capabilities as well, whether that's integrating with IPFS or maybe building something out ourselves. So next slide, please. I think there was a demo slide that may have got skipped somewhere. I'm not sure if I can give a demo now or I can follow up with the
Why don't
link
you,
to the demo.
You want to share screen?
Yes, I can share screen. 1 second. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Host now. Should be good.
Sweet. Okay, we're good. All right. Can everybody see my screen? It looks like a storage page.
Yes, we can.
Sweet. Awesome. So I'll keep this quick. Here we are on the Telnyx customer portal. This is the dedicated storage page where you can interact with our Telnyx storage product. So I'm going to go ahead and click get started. And we're going to go start by creating a bucket where we can upload our data into. So I'm going to give it a name. Let's just call it community update because I'm feeling really creative. And then we can specify our region for where we want our data stored. In this drop-down menu here, you can see 6 different cities. These are just the cities that Telnyx currently has our miners located in. So essentially you're picking the site where you want your miner or your data persisted onto the Filecoin network. So I'm going to pick Dallas. So data will be eventually stored on the Dallas miner that we have. And then there's some other bucket configuration settings that we could talk about, but I'm going to skip it for the purpose of saving time. I'm going to go ahead and create our bucket. So there it is in the page. I'm going to go ahead and click into the bucket. And as you can see, there's no data uploaded into it. So let's change that. I'm going to go to my file browser real quickly. And I just have like a quick little screenshot that I prepared before this call. It's just a screenshot of my desktop. You can choose to encrypt the object with Telnyx managed keys or leave it unencrypted, or you can even encrypt it before uploading. And you can also apply some tags as well, which we're going to skip for today. But I'll go ahead and upload my object. And as you can see, create a bucket, upload an object into a bucket. This is currently being stored on Telnyx storage. And so from here, we could download it, we could delete it, we could apply tags. Or what is really fun is if we go over to this page here, which I know it's a little small. I apologize, I couldn't figure out how to zoom in on this. But this is MSP 360 Cloudberry, which is an S3 third-party client. And so on the left here is just my file browser on my laptop, but on the right here is actually integrated with Telnyx storage.
Telnyx, nice.
Yeah. So I hit refresh, and now as you can see, here's the bucket that I just created. I can click into that bucket. Here's the object that I just uploaded. I could download it from here, or I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete it. So I just deleted the object within Cloudberry. And then we're going to go back to this page here where I have my bucket. And if I refresh the page, and it loads, and I click back into my bucket, that object was deleted. So just showing a little interoperability with some one of the more popular S3 clients. So yeah, that's just a really quick demo. If anybody else wanted a more in-depth demo, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to walk you through it. But that's all I had.
One question for you before we get you out of here.
Sure.
I know Telnyx has been using this with its own client base. What has been the biggest thing you've noticed with your clients on Filecoin using this product?
I guess what do you mean by that?
So like, are you getting better throughput? Like, what's the better, cheaper, faster from a client perspective working with you now that you've got this product into the marketplace?
Essentially, it's just significantly cheaper for them to store with us compared to the traditional Web2 storage providers at the moment. And we actually have encountered throughput issues recently that we're currently working on and trying to investigate, which I think I'll be in touch with Marina to try and hopefully resolve.
Excellent. We do have a question in the chat that we're going to get to really quickly here. How does Telnyx delete objects if Filecoin does not support deal deletion?
So effectively what happens is we won't auto-renew the deal. So we can't actually delete it from our miner. So it still stays on the network until the deal expires. But what we'll do is we'll essentially delete it from our API. So the user wouldn't see it in their bucket. They wouldn't be able to access it through our API. And from their perspective, it'll be deleted. But essentially, we don't have the capability to actually delete it from the network at this time.
All right. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Email him directly. Go on to Telnyx's website if you have further questions.